Shalom, family. Good to see everybody here. I hope everybody is doing well. Shalom, shalom. Well, y'all, many of you know the history of this country, and the history is Black farmers had millions of acres stolen from them. All right, from the time Reconstruction and everything was going on all the way up until present day. And white farmers played a huge role in land being stolen. And this US government assisted them in stealing land that belonged to Black farmers. Now, please don't come because I know, them folks will come and say, oh, I don't believe that. They act like their own people can't be cruel and mean and do underhanded things like this is an unknown thing. To search the internet is absolutely free. That's why I won't do no search and give you something. I will never do it. Don't ever approach me over that because you will not get it. It don't cost you nothing to do your own research. So don't be lazy. Get out there and look. Now, my people already know this stuff. We already know this is a well-known thing. Especially even if your people had land and it was stolen, that's what happened on both sides of my family. My mother's side and father's side had land. They were Black, land owners, and both of them lost their lands. And it was several acres of land that was stolen right down there in Georgia. And we know these things have happened over and over and over. Well, guess what, y'all? The Most High is not playing with these folks. White farmers, since Donald Trump took office, have been rapidly losing their land. Now, we know this is not Black farmers because Donald Trump stopped them from getting subsidies. Now, we know the Black farmers couldn't get subsidies. They couldn't get land grants. They couldn't get loans. They kept getting blocked every step of the way. So when they say, these folks couldn't get subsidies or couldn't get loans, we know they are exclusively talking about white farmers. Now, when the trade war jumped off, this government seized all lands that were owned by Chinese. The China government owned farmland in America. And when Donald Trump jumped off his trade war, all of that land was seized. So we know we're not talking about Chinese farmers because that was already done prior to the South Africans coming over here. That was done like early in Donald Trump's presidency. So white farmers that lost their farms because they couldn't get any more additional welfare, because that's what it is. Y'all always give it a different name. Oh, subsidies. Oh, farm loans and that. No, welfare. Welfare. Say it the right way. Y'all got welfare up in here. Welfare. And Donald Trump cut your welfare off. And once he did that, y'all start trying to sell off whatever you could. And even that was to no avail. And you eventually got your farms foreclosed on. And y'all, it is rapid. These white farmers are rapidly losing their farms. Well, guess what happened? See, we should have known it was a lot more to these white Afrikaners coming over here. We should have known it was a lot more to it than, they're being discriminated against. They're not being discriminated against. They just don't like everything becoming equal. They want an unequal playing field where they possess all the land. That is not a refugee. Somebody that's butt sore because they can't keep all the land is not a refugee. So these people that you've seen come over here, 59, 49, we know they keep changing the number in the media. That's why nobody trusts you. They already bought the land, y'all. They already bought these white farmers' land before they even flew over here. They made deals and bought the land. So, my question is to the white farmer, because we already know y'all don't like these South Africans come because y'all are putting the videos out. Y'all are pumping the videos out. How do y'all feel? Is it different that you lost your farm and white immigrants bought the farm? Are you okay with that? I don't think you are. I don't think you are okay with white foreigners buying your land. So, you may drive past your former farmland and somebody with a Dutch accent, a flat South African accent, because their accent is flat and it sounds weird, is going to be on your former land and working the farm there. Are you going to be okay with that? It'll be interesting because we already know y'all are not going to like it. So I have a series of videos to show you, and then we'll come back and talk. True Royal, I'll bring you on after I show the video, okay? I'll bring you on then. So, y'all, look, the bottom line is, in order for these South Africans had purchased the land before moving here, this stuff was in the works from day one with Donald Trump. He was working this whole thing out from day one. But white farmers, now you know what it feels like. When land was taken from black farmers, y'all didn't bat an eye at it because you were getting that land and growing your land by hundreds and maybe even thousands of acres after stealing their land. Now your land has been swiped away from you, from the very same government that helped you steal black land. That government has turned on you, and they're now taking your land and handing it over to white foreigners. Boy, do you see the irony in this whole thing? Do you see it for real? It's jacked up, isn't it? But never say the Most High is never going to answer you, because he will answer you. And judgment is here, y'all. Judgment is here. We see judgment all around us on these Gentiles. Judgment is on these white farmers. Justice is on these Latinos and all of these people that have to leave this country. Judgment is on all of them now, and we're literally watching it unfold. How you doing, Tareen? We're literally watching their judgment unfold right before our eyes. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So, y'all, I'm going to share my screen. There's two things. One thing I'm going to go over with you before I even get to the videos. And that is this: as of midnight, the shampoo will be marked down 20%. So if you want to grab that up, I have 40 shampoos available. So once they're gone, they're gone. So you'll be able to put in promo code shampoo20 to get your discount of 20%. Starting at midnight, this does not include bundles. Okay, I will put the bundles on sale, but at another time. For now, this is shampoo only. And I know I'm going to get somebody before tomorrow's out. Well, what about this? It happens all the time. There's going to be always one person that didn't hear me. But I said it. All right. So let's get to the videos, y'all. Let's get to the videos. Let me get rid of that. Okay. All right, y'all, give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right.
If you're wondering where all these South Africans are going to go, don't worry. They already had a plan in place, and it was called AcreTrader. That's right. They already took the farmland from farmers who were failing. As a matter of fact, they have about 40,000 acres of farmland that they took from American farmers because they wouldn't give them subsidies. AcreTrader is an American real estate investment company that specializes in farmland. It says here that the company aims to increase investor access to real estate assets and provides capitals to farmers and growers to expand their business. But what they failed to leave out here is that the first investor into AcreTrader was none other than J.D. Vance. You know J.D. Vance, the one who's in charge of the White House with the president who is cutting all the subsidies to the farmers? Yeah, that J.D. Vance. And what they also failed to mention is the fact that the people who were investing, yeah, they were South Afrikaners. And guess who just came to America to go on these farms? That's right. You guessed it. Are you sick of it yet? Are you sick of it yet? $880 billion being pulled from Medicaid so they can fund tax money going to the rich. Your farmland being taken away from American farmers and being given to South African refugees. People being human trafficked all over the United States and outside of this country for financial gain. Minimum wage is $7.25 hasn't been raised since 2009. You can't afford health care. You can't afford your car insurance. You're probably not going to be able to buy a home anytime soon. And grocery prices are through the roof. And guess who's going to own your food now? The People's Sick Day is coming. It's going to be a 1 to 3 day collection of people who are going to take back their power by setting down. No more showing up for work when you're making peanuts and they're giving away your farmland to foreigners. You better join us because unless we stand up, none of us are going to win this fight.
Yeah. It's just getting worse and worse. Okay, so I want to put it out there. I've seen a lot of comments when I address this offer of refugee status for white South Africans in the US, that there are a lot of people that say, just leave them. They're not wanted in South Africa, and now they're going to go for an opportunity there in the US, and just leave the people alone. The people must leave South Africa alone. Okay, so if you are going to go and take up this US refugee status because of your so-called persecution in South Africa, don't go there and badmouth South Africa and think there isn't going to be a response. So for instance, we have got Errol Langton. 9 people of the 49 is Errol Langton and his family. And he goes and speaks to the New York Times and thinks no one's going to check the information. Well, we know the New York Times didn't, but we're in South Africa. If you're going to badmouth the country, we're going to check. So an Afrikaner farming family trades South Africa for Alabama. So in the interview, Errol tells the New York Times that he has been threatened back home because he was a white guy and a farmer, and that his business had suffered financially because of the hatred directed at Afrikaners. He goes on to tell them that he grew spinach, mustard, Swiss chard, and sweet potatoes, possibly in his backyard. Now he said he would most likely work an IT job in Birmingham. how odd, a farmer that's going to now just work a IT job in Birmingham. But eventually he hopes to purchase a plot of land where his family can farm with chickens and perhaps run a commercial operation. Mr. Langton, you should stick to your knitting, because you ran an IT company that was registered from 2008 in South Africa. You have never farmed. Why are you blatantly lying? In fact, here is the background of your company. Errol Langton joined as the first technician the company employed, being very much family orientated, dexterous, continued to include all members, I assume, of the Langton family. And the reason why I can't see is because the web page has been discontinued. So the next time one of the so-called South African refugees decide to actually speak to the media on that side and make false statements about their persecution as farmers when they've never been farmers, please note, South Africa will respond.
All right, I'm back. Again, I ain't getting no rest under this dang administration. So the Tang crew, the Cheeto in Chief and the Tang crew, they are currently giving U.S. land to the South Afrikaners, which are the Wahite South Africans, South Afrikaners, who have been given us a fast-tracked refugee status by the Trump administration, claiming a G-side when that's not what's happening in South Africa. Go do your own research. I ain't going to educate you on that for free. But I want you to look into how they're getting the U.S. land. They are going to get the U.S. land through this company called AcreTrader. And when you look at who invested in AcreTrader, you're going to see a familiar name. The name is J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance invested $65,000 into this company as a primary investor. And now it's being used to give U.S. land to these refugees. Interesting, right?
Let's fucking talk about it. And I'm going to talk about these South Afrikaners that have come to the United States claiming that they're refugees. Do you all know where they're going to house these people? Do you have any idea where these people are going to go? Well, I'm about to tell you. Have you ever heard of AcreTrader? You know, J.D. Vance's little pet project that he's got going. You know, the agency that's taking away farmers' land and stuff because, you know, the Republican Party took away their subsidies. They plan to give the farms that have been seized to the new Afrikaners, the South Afrikaners. That's right. You heard me right. So they're taking farms away from American fucking citizens who had contracts with the government, who the government is obviously not upholding their end of it. They're taking away their farms and they're going to give it to these South Afrikaners. Excuse me? What the fuck? I don't fucking think this is right. And any fucking American that said this is right, y'all are on the fucking wrong side right fucking now. I'm going to fucking say it right now. None of those people that came from South Africa are fucking refugees. What they left is because they couldn't use their white fucking privileges anymore. They couldn't use that anymore because their country is diverse. It is working to be diverse. Equality across the board. But see, these people didn't like that. And so they claim that they're being persecuted and kicked off their fucking land when that's not fucking true. And now Trump and his administration brought them here to take over the farms that they took away from the American citizens. Get the fuck out. This is wrong. And every fucking body knows it. Y'all need to speak up about this. And I should not be the only one.
Good morning. Those South African refugees that are coming over, guess where they're going? Anybody want to guess? Yeah, JD's company, J.D. Vance. He's been buying up farmland. Farmland. Farmland that all you farmers can't afford anymore. So JD's company bought it. And the refugees the white ones from South Africa. That's who's going to be doing the farming. So all you farmers who voted for Trump and lost your land to J.D. Vance, now your farmland's going to be farmed by refugees. Refugees from South Africa. True story. Yep. That's what you voted for. Fuck around and found out.
So the administration has taken possession of numerous farms in the United States through the use of investors through AcreTrader, apparently, which is a startup that was funded by the vice president. They are providing these farms to these Afrikaner settlers. One of them has already come over earlier and acquired a farm in Texas and Alabama. So Americans, you can't afford to pay for your crops and your farms because the United States government refused to continue grants and provide funding as has been done for decades. You tied your family's farm that has been in your possession for generations. You tied these farms and these titles and these deeds to loans that you took out and have taken out through financial institutions for generations. And now you have elected, and a president has come into office who is corrupt as fuck and is now giving your shit that you're losing to Afrikaner settlers. And I forgot the most important part. A lot of farmers are growing crops for this season just to be covered by the insurance for the loss that is now not guaranteed to happen. And those that are covered by insurance policies that they have on their crops this season will be the last season that happens.
You guys aren't going to believe this shit. I'll make it fast, but stay to the end for the kicker. You remember the last few years when you could not find a single family home, and if you could, you probably couldn't afford it because you had corporate interests like Zillow and BlackRock. They were coming in, heavily investing in the real estate market, wiping the single family homes off the market so the average person could not even buy one. Fast forward to this week, I'm sure you've seen the story of the Missouri farmer, the young guy who was at risk of losing his farm because the grant that he was going to receive to like reimburse him for all these expenses he had been cut. Well, look, they've also cut U.S. aid, which gave farmers millions and millions of dollars because they would buy their crops and then send them overseas or send them, places here in the United States to help people in need, but it also helped the farmers. Well, I found out today that there is a website called AcreTrader. AcreTrader is a company that heavily invests in agricultural land. So you can go invest in these farms that are failing, that somehow they're just starting to fail, and you can just buy them up. Well, guess who heavily funded AcreTrader? J.D. fucking Vance. Do you think they're out here just destroying these small farms so they can buy them up, all these tech bros? Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it?
So guess who heavily invested in J.D. Vance's AcreTrader? That would be South Afrikaners. So not only did American farmers vote for the man who ran on unilateral taxes that even the conservative analysts told them would ruin them, and then also the more environmentally friendly farming practice subsidies were canceled. So many farmers are going under, especially after China canceled their soy and corn contracts. But on top of that, people with means are being catered to by the U.S. government to turn around and buy American farmlands out from under American farmers. We tried to tell you. This is all part of Project 2025. This is all part of the Peter Thiel, Curtis Yarvin Corporation model. So, y'all voted for this.
So the farmers in America, they lost all their workers because they got deported. And then they voted for Trump. They voted for Trump. And then they lost a lot of the grants because this guy Musk has been, cleaning out and he's taking from the poor. The farmers can't pay their bills. They're having to sell. And J.D. Vance set up a company so that he could buy farms. They're buying all the farms in America, just like they did with all the private houses. Oh, you guys are so smart. You're brilliant. You can't make this. Okay, I have positive news. Here's the positive news. Decades of proud ignorance that you've had is coming to an end. Jesus.
So, farmers for Trump. Come here. Let me get this straight. At the beginning of the year, he stopped all of your subsidies, and a bunch of you were hurting for that. And if you didn't have to sell off your farm, a lot of people had to sell off farming equipment or, just bite that. Some people even, lost their homes because they couldn't pay that off, right? All the while, your government, J.D. Vance, was investing in a company that was busy buying up American farmers' land as they lost it. And the South Africans bought up your farms. So my question is, does it make the sting any better knowing it was a white immigrant that stole your job?
So y'all, welcome to my page again. But do y'all remember when after Trump won the election, he turned off all the money to the farmers? And a lot of them were set to get all these grants that Joe Biden and Kamala had put in place. Well, they took that money. Like, you got to think a grand scheme. Think on the grand scheme. Look at the big picture. So they ended all that funding for the farmers. The reason why, now that these individuals have come from South Africa, they come here to farm the land. If you think about it, J.D. Vance, if you do your research, not think about it, do your research. J.D. Vance was one of the first people to actually invest in AcreTrader. Those South Africans are friends of Elon Musk. So now you farmers that voted for Trump have lost your farms. They're bringing a total of 8,000 South Africans over here to actually be farmers. And they're going to take your land. If they haven't already taken it, these people are going to get your land. Trust me, these white people are rich and they have the money to buy it. So now you are facing the repercussions of your vote. And justly do. Because you thought that Trump was going to actually impact the Black people with all of his decisions that he would make. You had no clue that he was even going to turn on you. But the funny thing to us, the Black community, is that you guys still haven't woke up to see what's going on. You still think that this man is going to come through and be your savior, when actually he's going to take everything and leave nothing for you. You will be just like us. ER. Hard ER. Because you're poor anyway. You don't have his money. You're poor morally. Your values are definitely poor. You're poor all around the board. And now you want somebody to feel sorry for y'all, and you still haven't woken up to see he putting all these other people out of this country so he can bring in these people to take your land. He thinks this is going to be human apartheid. They ain't going to apartheid us because we different than when it happened over there in South Africa. So if them Africans thinking they going to come over here and mess with us, it ain't happening. And see, here's the funny thing. When they gave away all that money, the black people didn't get it. So their farms are theirs. You guys were dependent on the government, like you depend on welfare, like you depend on food stamps, like you depend on any government assistance that y'all say the black people take more advantage of, when we all know the truth. And so now y'all gonna learn the truth the hard way. But you have the day that you deserve with that. Yeah, have that day. So all you MAGA heads with those red hats running around here talking about Donald Trump this, then my God-given rights. Now it's your right for your land to be taken just like y'all took it from us. Have a good day with that.
So y'all ready to talk about AcreTrader now? You didn't know AcreTrader is a company that invests in farms that are failing. And considering that most of our farms are going to be failing soon because they're going to lose their subsidies from the federal government, it's interesting that the number one donor into this company is none other than JD Vance. Isn't that weird? Basically, AcreTrader allows private investors to invest in failing farms and buy up the land together as a team, get together with your buddies. And good old JD Vance, yep, he heavily invested in this AcreTrader. I'm sure pulling the federal funds away from farmers doesn't have anything to do with that. That would be crazy, right? Like, why would the vice president invest in a company who was going to spend money to grab up farmland and take away their federal farming money so that way they could lose their farms? That would not. Come on, guys, don't be ridiculous.
So y'all, isn't that ironic? The black farmers, believe it or not, are not losing anything because they were never able to get subsidies from the government in the first place. They ended up paying their own stuff off out of their own pockets. So they're not losing their farm. Look at the irony. The white farmers are the biggest losers in this entire thing. The black farmers eventually turned to the public to sell their fruits and their vegetables. That's why you can go online, and each state got black farmers that advertise where you can buy directly from them. That's what they turned around and did because they couldn't get government help. The white farmers heavily depended on loans and subsidies and grants from the government to a default, because once you can't pay it back, guess what? You lose everything and you don't get a lot of time. Once you default, and they can default very quickly, they just fall, and that's what's happening. So Donald Trump, and I believe Donald Trump is an investor too. JD Vance is brought up a lot because he is the biggest investor of AcreTrader. And Donald Trump cutting that money off really just helped him grow his investment. And Donald Trump is an insider trader, whether people realize it or not. He really is. He really is. That's why he did all the trade war stuff where he would, I hear something in the background, True Royal. I don't know if there's a TV on, but I hear it.
It's on, Lisa. Excuse me.
Okay. But, I'm just thrilled this time the black farmers are not the biggest losers in this entire thing because they never got the government's help in the first place. You know? Okay. Yeah, I saw what a lot of y'all were putting in there. Karma. Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, the chickens definitely came home to roost on this one. Go ahead, True Royal. What would you like to say?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I do know. Because some people that were speaking, they mostly spoke truth on it, but some things that they don't fully understand that's going on with this, that I'm gonna fill in some gaps. Is that that those white South Africans that they brought over, they don't technically own the land, even though they're gonna tell you all of that. Now, what's going on is Trump and them, what Trump just did to his own folks is exactly what he's doing to these folks. So these people are put in a lose-lose situation where stolen land on top of stolen land, they have did an investment. So they are expecting something from these white South Africans. And what they dumbass don't realize is how quickly they can get sent back on because Trump is real fickle if this thing don't work out. Don't be surprised. Literally months or within a year's time that some of them folks gonna be trying to figure out, how can I get back to South Africa? Because some people don't fully even understand the mentality of these people, how they live and everything. There's a video that I put up years ago, how they really live over there in the different classes of them, and the ones that they brought over are the lowest form. Because somebody had made some comment about, oh, they already got money. No. They purposely handpicked the ones that they want that didn't have no options at all. So the very thing that Trump and his little cronies have done to them, to the white farmers that are here in America, they're going to essentially do it back to them. Because trust and believe, some of those farmers that lost stuff and pissed off or on the verge of losing stuff is going to be trying to find a way to stick it back to their own. Because I've been trying to figure out, which didn't make sense to me, why would Trump want to tear down his own? I kept that's been spinning around in my head and everything. But then the other aspect,
Royal, he screwed his own people the first time around.
Yes, he did. And it makes
man don't care if it's money involved, which it is. Farming is big money. Donald Trump is going to follow the money. He ain't going to give a shit about them people.
Yeah, and them people, look at how they are labeled. Now you can say a lot of stuff, but we don't know how all the paperwork is put together and all that. And then people are seeing those are Elon's friends. They don't look at them as friends. These are investments. These are investments for these people. And it makes me go back to thinking of something that Trump did many years ago, where he went over to somewhere over in some European country, and he wanted to build a golf course. And this area had a lot of sand dunes where people had been living there for hundreds of years. And once they started digging up, the water would naturally come in these different areas. And Trump talked about them people so bad, and they disdain Trump to this day. Trump could not build anything over there because the fool, he wouldn't listen to nobody about, you can't build nothing because it's water up under this sand and stuff. But he don't care who he run over. So these white South Africans, again, then it came over here, they are considered refugees. That means that they can send them anywhere they want. Then also, that's what I'm saying, it's certain classes. People have to understand. They made sure they picked a class that they literally had to dress them before they even came over here, from head to toe. They had nothing. They have nothing. I bet you they can't even scrape up enough money to even get back to South Africa. And it ain't going to even be as easy as that if some of them realize, oh, wow, I've been screwed, because they didn't put all their eggs in one basket and think they're going to run over there. They probably holding their passports and everything. But now I'm starting to, I'm even, because it's unfolding in front of my eyes too. When they said that in the last days that Esau would eat his own, this is a classic example of it. And we're going to see it in so many different forms. It's like, oh, there it is. Okay.
Well, it's just like when people were saying to us the whole time when those Latinos came over, oh, they prefer the foreigners over us. Yes. And you're going to see Donald Trump do the same thing when it comes down to his people. He's going to prefer those South Africans farming over these white Americans farming. See, the white farmer in their eyes he became too expensive. And he became demanding. You know, they want this, they want subsidies, they want help, they want, you know what I mean? They became so demanding, they got tired of them.
But they the one that put them in that situation, but what was not making sense, Lisa. There is
no loyalty when it comes down to this government.
But the very ones that they bringing over gonna need the same damn thing.
They are, but you know what? They can get them cheaper. They can give them less.
There you go. That's
what it is. At the end of the day, it's follow the money. And these white farmers became too much of a drag on the system.
Okay.
That's why they're letting them go.
And literally, like you said, they gave them land, they gave them equipment, they gave them cattle, they gave them every damn thing. And then on top of that, after their surplus, they was making money off of their surplus by sending that farm aid over all around the damn world. They were depending on that. In the words that they've been using.
They had opportunities Black farmers never, ever had extended to them.
That's right.
Never. And see, that's why I'm saying the white farmer has become a drag on the system. They're now looking to get that same farm work done on the cheap, and they will with these folks.
Yeah, because because this is how it started out for them day one. Now, y'all know I would not let up about how they screwed over the Black farmers. And you even opened my eyes to something that I didn't even think about, Lisa, about actually we're in the few Black farmers that are left, they are put in a better position because they're not beholding and depending, which they never could depend on the government for shit. You know, because that's a mixed bag. Whereas the ones that are here, they gave them so much that they just kicked their heels up, because I didn't even know until all of this stuff going on back to their surplus where they was making big money off of that. And I've been listening to the videos over in Africa, and they were saying that surplus that the white farmers were sending was garbage. They said they glad that they not even getting that garbage that they were sending over here from America. They could keep all that shit. They really can. But this is a mix. Look at, I bet you before the year is out, when these people realize, no telling what they done signed, and they holding them by the balls. So I know the white farmers over here, they jaws is tight and all, but even they really didn't put them in a bad situation. They
They
over
are,
here.
but I don't feel bad for them because they cleaned the clock of black farmers when it comes down to land. You
Mhm.
know, black farmers at one point in time had millions of acres in here.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
those white farmers, when they got the opportunity, they were taking their land. Those black farmers and their families never got compensation.
Correct.
Now, for the first time in history, they are getting a dose of their own medicine. They're
Mhm.
losing their farms and they're not getting a dime
And,
for
and
the
can you
farms they lost.
and can you imagine the ones that they done brought over here, and the government has expectations of
Oh,
them because
listen,
this is
True Royal too. Listen, they getting the farmland for pennies on the dollar.
yeah, but this is what I wanted to add, Lisa. I understand all of that, pennies on the dollar and all that stuff, but they gonna go through a cultural shock also as well, because they not used to seeing us type of black folks that live way better than them, how we conduct ourselves and all of that. They not.
Good. I'm glad
It's a lot of.
I'm glad they're gonna get that shock.
Yeah, they're gonna get this.
About that.
And you know what they're gonna do, Lisa? Because we are really at a period where it don't even just bother black folks. They're going to isolate because ain't nobody can relate to them. And then because of the way they speak with that heavy dialect, they sound like some damn retards the way they speak. They own don't even want to be around them. They are not they are not like at all.
They got a weird ass accent. When you really listen to it, you know, because I got used to listening to accents because we lived overseas at one point in time, and their accent is weird. It is Dutch. And the other distinctive thing that's weird, it's a flat accent. I don't know if you ever heard flat accents on people. Their accent is flat on top of being Dutch.
Yeah.
And it's so weird.
Yeah,
and on top of that, you know, like a lot of these Latinos worked for these white farmers. I really don't think they would work for these South Afrikaners. I really don't think they would get those same Latinos.
When you talk about some of the most hated white people on the planet, white folks don't even like white South Africans. It's something about
they don't hate them. The hate is going to be deep. The longer they stay on the land, because Donald Trump is planning to throw millions, if not billions of dollars at these people. In the 1 year they're going to be here, he's going to throw all kinds of money. You know, they're getting homes, they're getting cars, they're getting I think they already got the cell phones. The moment they came off of the plane, they gave them free cell phones. They're getting free food, clothing, everything is free. Right? That is going to, and as people start losing their jobs, as we move through the year, they going to really get angry at Donald Trump catering to and giving all the tax dollars to these farmers. Trust me, that hatred is going to grow deep.
Yeah, and it's already growing deep because day by day they're losing out. But this is the question that I ask. Okay, they giving them a year. So what happens after that year?
Well,
these people, I don't care what nobody say, these people don't own that land.
Well, first
they might think they own this land.
Well, you remember the one they spoke about that got land in Alabama, and he also got land in Texas? He did buy that land.
Okay.
If you go out, and he did buy it. Now, as for the other ones, that might not be the case for the other ones.
I don't see overall because I look at it like this, Lisa.
If they're able to buy the land, it's going to be because Donald Trump provided the money.
Yeah, because this is the question. This is all you got to do is just ask yourself questions. If you got that kind of money to buy land, why would you need somebody to hand you everything else? You shouldn't want for nothing. You should be able to buy land.
They're coming like all the immigrants. They're looking for free shit. Don't think these white folks ain't looking for free shit. They are.
And see, they was getting
They
free
are.
shit. They was getting free shit even in South Africa. They have never ever stopped getting free shit.
But these low-class ones were not getting as much.
See,
they're going to get a lot more crossing the ocean because Donald Trump is the one rolling the red carpet out for them.
See, this is what people don't. This is what a lot of people. This is what a lot of people don't know about how things were working before with the apartheid and all. When it didn't matter if when those white South Africans, it didn't matter if they finished school or not. They were guaranteed work. No matter what.
And they did.
And then what ended up happening when everything hit them on their ass, what they did was, because they were so used to getting handouts, they started squatting in parks all through South Africa. You can pull up the videos yourself. They live horrible. These people don't even wash their behinds. They don't have no running water. And they just live in they living in shanty towns too.
Right.
See,
I did that in a video recently showing them in shanty towns.
Yeah. And so they literally depend on their own to come out once a week to give them clothes and food and everything. Some of them flatly refuse to work. So what's going on in South Africa?
Look, one thing I did point out, when they came off of that plane and came through the airport, I was like, look at how many of them are fat. You can tell they don't do nothing.
No, they don't. I follow. There's these two women. It's a mother and daughter. And what the mother and daughter do is go to these little places where they didn't set up their little shanty towns, and they'll go and feed them. And they eat a lot of starchy food. And they then gave completely up. A bunch of them are alcoholics, on drugs. They got a lot of problems. Lisa, you know what? I need to say something real quick. Miss Skill Gamer, please don't put up that link anymore. I took it down. I appreciate you putting that up, but it doesn't work anymore. I have a new link. But I don't like putting up links on Lisa's channel without her permission. But I do appreciate you doing that. But I have to ask Lisa's permission first. And I don't really want to get into that right now. But I do thank you. Excuse me, Lisa.
Oh, no. No, I noticed how fat they were. And I was like, half of them are fat. And when I looked at them, I said, they're so fat, you know damn well them chubby ones ain't hardly working no damn farm. You can look at them and tell they don't lift a finger over there in South Africa. And you can best believe they ain't lifting no finger over here. They're not going to lift a finger over here. Do not be shocked. Within the year, some of them might be okay on the farms, and the other ones are going to lose their farms within the year because they never knew how to farm, even when they were over.
No. And I know the ones that they bring it over here are the lowest of the low. Because I even remember when Trump was in office the first round. And remember, they asked to come over here, and Trump told them no. And other European countries don't even want them.
No, they don't want them because I think they went to Sweden. It was one of those European countries. Do you know they sent their asses right back to South Africa because they caused so many problems in their country when they brought them over? They packed their asses up and sent them right back to South Africa.
Yeah, them people are full
they said
of
they
problems.
caused a lot of problems. And they said when you talk to them, you'll feel like it's 1800s, you know, and they'll say stupid shit like black people are stupid. They don't think, they don't know how to think. And, you know, they say a little ignorant.
Yeah, they're going to say that shit over here. And they're going to get that.
I want them to have culture shock. I want them to have it. I want them to be in a state of shock when they get in our faces for the first time with that racist shit. I want them to get the whole full karma and even get knocked out here in these streets. Let them try it. I want them to do it. I want them to do it.
I think the first shock is going to see how we live, how we walk upright, how we dress. Because one thing in this country, you can't tell if we are broke or not based on the way we dress. Because I know when my father went over to Africa, he said the one thing that stood out to him, he said, our folks don't have much just by the way they dress. But he said the thing that will shock you, Lisa, is even though they might be dressed terrible and real broke, he said over 90% of them Africans are highly educated. That's what blew him back. How many of them had degrees and they just couldn't find work?
They don't make money over there. That's why they keep leaving. When I lived in Europe, there were a lot of Africans living all over Europe, and they go there because they got degrees and stuff, but they over there in African countries, they're so corrupt. The salaries are horrible. That's
Lisa,
why they try to get up out of it.
You expose that. Well, we already know what is the Nigerians are the most the ones I think worldwide have the most degrees, and then some of them got clever, and you expose that where they didn't set up their own businesses where they take do the paper helping white folks get through college. They pay they hundreds of dollars, they do all they school work for them and submit it back. And it's a number of black folks over in different countries and became millionaires off of lazy ass white folks.
And it's a shame because potentially if Africa could give their people good incomes, they would never lose their best and brightest. They would just stay there. And I think they would have been better off doing that because their countries would have been so much more advanced. But the fact that they have not paid them the salaries that, in my opinion, that they deserve over there, I think they messed up right there. Losing so many of their people to foreign countries, I think that was a big mistake. Africa made.
And I agree with you, Lisa, because I go back to saying this is something else that this country is going to suffer from, not investing in your youth.
Well, I think their biggest downfall was not promoting the family. Correct. Now they're on this thing. Oh, we got to have more babies. It's a day late and a buck short.
But I mean, but it goes way more deeper than just having more babies and stuff.
No, that's why I'm saying they should have promoted the family. They should have done a lot of concessions for people to be more family oriented in this country. But what they did was they focused on careers. Oh, get a career. Oh, climb the ladder and do this. That's what they heavily drove. Now they're at the point where babies are not being born within their community. Now they're all up in arms about people having babies. It's not going to happen at this point. You waited too late to even promote family up in here. And listen to the women. Listen to the women. The women are telling you, "Oh no, I want to have this. I want to make six figures. I want to have a career." These women ain't thinking about no babies.
Oh no, no, you're right about that.
Too long.
Because what's going against her is a biological clock. But like you said, she want to make the money that white man making. She want to have the freedom that he's having, and and travel and do all those different things and climb up that corporate ladder too.
The mentality of the women too, True Royal. At this point, his woman want to dethrone him and be the one in charge of everything. She don't even want to listen to her own man. She want to be the head honcho up in here.
You know what? I heard from a white nurse. It's been about 16, 17 years ago. When my little cousin was being born, she said these new white nurses that come in, they come in very aggressive. very nasty and very know-it-all. They don't want you to, show them the ropes and all of that. And she said, this lady was about to retire. She said, when I came in, we wasn't making the money like these girls are making, and they're not humble at all. She said their heart ain't even in nursing. They just coming in for just the money, strictly and all. But see, a lot of this goes back to, like you was talking about, the family aspect. When you do not invest in families, you can take your own individual family, and if you don't take the time to nurture your family member and do the right type of investment in your family, that might be the very person that you gonna depend on to take care of you. They're gonna warehouse your ass, and that's what this country keep doing over and over. Look at what they've always talked about how smart the Asians were. Look at what they did to themselves. They had a one birth rule. They was all hung up on just having males. They got a major problem in their country, but they supposed to be so smart. Everybody's supposed to be so damn smart and not thinking nothing through. That's why, back to this stuff with the farms and all of that, I said, these people ain't looking at the bigger picture of this. They don't mind. And that's just their nature, because they steal everything. They done stole a whole country and all. So they stealing on top of stealing, and then they not paying attention to how they do each other. And Trump, he don't hide what he do. And I'm saying, this is not gonna work out. If he's screwing the ones that's here, the ones that they are labeling refugees, if that experiment don't work out, they gonna run their ass right up out of here, or they gonna be ready to go.
True Royal, it ain't gonna work anyway. Number one, Donald Trump ain't gonna be the sitting president forever.
True.
The next person come in may want their asses gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's not guaranteed that when the next one comes into office that they're gonna be secure. They're taking a gamble coming over here under all this BS that Donald Trump is luring them in over. They're taking
that's what have you found out
coming in is going to cut them off from the money.
I'm asking you, and I'm asking the people that's listening, because I can't find anything yet. So what happens after a year? That's the question that I'm asking. What is expected after a year? Because what happens after that? They're not gonna get nothing. Are they hoping they're gonna get something after a year?
Mm-hmm. They're on shaky ground coming in here. That's the way I see it.
I mean, I wouldn't come in on those type of terms. I would just stay in the situation that I'm in, because they think the ones that's big and bad and bold to come over here thinking they taking something from someone because they so used to getting unquote handouts. It's like, damn, you don't mind bumping your own. That's the part that's blowing my mind.
They don't care. No, I see. They don't even care over there who they screw over in South Africa. So I know darn well they don't care who they're screwing over in a country they never been to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As these prophecies unfold about Esau eating his own, I didn't fully understand, well, what does it mean about eating its own? And the first thing that I seen, and you was the one to point this out, and I don't think you realized it, was when when those collage of videos was coming out a few months ago where people had voted for Trump, and then you were showing videos where their own families wouldn't help them, or it was like, well, you put yourself in that position. They don't have no jobs, they didn't lost their place and all that. And I said, damn, their own individual families would leave them ass out.
Mm-hmm.
And so then
think about this. They're over here now, right?
Uh-huh.
When this place finally fall, they're going to suffer the same fate that Esau in this land is going to suffer.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever's in this land is going to suffer that same fate. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be spared at all because they flew in here from South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
That judgment is now on them. Now that they settled on this ground, that same judgment is now on them.
So basically what you're saying because you help you unlocking some things in my mind too. So basically what you're saying is when it comes just to the white farmers, that this government, or let's say Trump and them, are tired of giving them the unquote handouts. They're asking too much. So because the part that I wasn't understanding was you wanted, you wanted your own to vote for you to get you in there, and then they kept the end of their bargain, wink wink, Trump, okay, we voting for you, and they was expecting Trump to do something for them. And I'm like, wait a minute, why are you screwing your own, Trump? Why are you screwing your own?
He don't need them. He don't need MAGA. He don't need them anymore. He already got what he wants. He's in office. He don't need them. He looks at them as expendable now. He don't need them.
Wow.
He don't need them. He's not going to be up for election for another 4 years.
Do you know when that really fully hit them? And I know it's starting to hit some, but when that fully hit them, they feel like they in a land of no return. Damn. They don't have they've always depended on their own to back them up.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, the separation gonna be real deep. We need to form our own communities because they are at their they are desperate, and they're gonna become more and more desperate.
Oh yeah, they're gonna get worse
because
number one, look, think about it. We, just like the black farmers, we're used to fending for ourselves because we've been put in this position. These folks, including these South Africans, they spent a lifetime on this planet and never had to fend for themselves. Not just the white South Africans, but even these white Americans. They never had to fend for themselves. That's why I'm saying when these shelves go empty, and they still gonna go empty, just because Donald Trump put some pause on stuff, that's not going to stop the inevitable. They gonna fall apart.
And you know what? Let's go back to this unquote merit-based system that we know ain't
just
ain't
the
nothing
South Africans coming here and Donald Trump willing to give them millions of dollars. That tells you right there it ain't no damn merit base.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is merit based.
But you know what blows my mind? How people can come from different countries, and I'm talking about all races, the poorest of the poor, and how quickly they can become Americanized.
Yeah. And I mean, look at the Latinos. See, as long as Biden was in there, he was handing them everything. But look at what happened. When Donald Trump became the sitting president, he pulled all that money back from their asses. See what he did? He took everything Biden gave them. Donald Trump walked in there and took it all away.
You know what, Lisa? I was talking to some relatives. I got some relatives down in Fort Smith. I talked to them the other day, and they went to Walmart, and they said that the shelves are empty already down there.
Parts of the country. Yep. It's already started.
Yeah.
And so Donald Trump worked out some deal with China. I don't know what kind of deal it was, y'all, because from what I see, they're still retaliating on each other. They're still the U.S. and China are still going back and forth, retaliating back and forth. Damn. But according to the news report, he put a pause on the trade war for 90 days with China. But it's too late now, because remember, it takes 7 weeks for one ship from China to reach the U.S. ports. Okay. So that means this summer, most of this summer, the shelves are going to be empty. It's going to be months before they can get caught up and get the shelves filled again.
Yeah.
If they can do it at this point.
Yeah. And then, once they, if they can get them filled up, people are going to start panic buying.
Just like during the pandemic. And we know who was doing all the panic buying up in here.
All that damn toilet paper and stuff. Well, it was going crazy.
Yeah. And it's going to happen again. We know who's going to kick that off. The same ones that kicked it off during the pandemic. Yeah. After the 90 days, you're right, Christopher Clipper. when everything goes back into effect, yeah, it's going to impact Christmas, and yeah, and the rest of the holidays for this year. But I don't care. I don't celebrate that mess anyway. That's
Yeah.
on them.
Yeah, that sure is. But some of these people over here in this country act like they're gonna die if they can't celebrate this stuff. Stuff ain't even necessary. Keep your money in your damn pocket.
They can do whatever. I know.
Yeah,
I'm not.
wear yourself out. Yeah, that stuff ain't even important. But but this is, like I said, this really did help me. I appreciate you, Lisa, because I've been trying to figure out some things. Some things I did figure out, but I just wasn't understanding, what was Trump's goal into screwing over his folks, because I'm so used to them, doing what they usually do. I didn't see that coming at all. But this is truly Esau eating his own, because they expect the government to keep their end of the bargain, and they've been the biggest welfare recipients day ass one. This is
and they
all,
still are technically. They still are. They're just getting as much as they used to, because Donald Trump and Elon has been cutting the money and cutting agencies and all that. They're not getting as much as they used to, but at the end of the day, they still get the most out of everyone up in here.
But see, this ties in to what I've been saying from day one, when I was saying that we had long ago won this war, where I said that they've been fattening themselves up for the kill. And I said the way they really should have done it was, once so-called slavery was over with, leave us to our own devices and say, we at this point now, say we never had no obstacles in our way. We could just, get what we got to get, do what we got to do, and all. This would put us in a complete state of shock. We've been born into this. No, we was born into this.
I see it a little different. They're never going to leave us alone. You know why?
No, they don't have it in them.
Because Black Wall Street happened the moment they left us alone. And they don't want to see that happen again. So they got to stay on top of us to make sure we don't get ahead of them, because we literally got ahead of them during that time.
But Lisa, this is where I disagree at. I know where you're coming from. Yeah, I agree with you on one point where, they always want to stay on top of us. But while you're staying on top of us, you're not taking care of all of your business.
Yeah, but they're not going to do that. That's not in their nature. That's not in their nature to attend to their business.
They'll never leave us alone. I never even expect that. But look at what they are losing by all these isms that they have, because they got a lot of isms and all, and now it's really starting to really affect their immediate situation. It really is.
But and I absolutely agree with that. But the bottom line is, they know they have done us wrong up in here. Yeah. And their biggest fear is retaliation. That's why they obsess over us, to see what's going on, to hear what we're talking about, to hear how we feel. Their fear will always be retribution, because deep down inside, they know they have trashed everybody to get what they want. They did not build up their world on merit. They built up their world from murder and just being abusive and just horrible to people. That's how they made it to the top. And that is always in the back of their subconscious. Are they going to get us the same way? Is this going to happen to us too? That guilt proved to me that what you did was wrong. Yeah. It is all wrong.
But they don't know how to tie in why they continue to keep messing with us, that this is affecting them. They like you said, they'll never stop messing with us, but they'll never make that connection like, wow, I need to leave these folks alone, because it's going to keep affecting their immediate situation. They just not bright like that. So I don't have those type of expectations that they gonna stop doing what they doing we need to always keep our folks on alert that that they're gonna keep doing what they're doing. Because like, I'm a firm believer, the only way that they're gonna leave us alone, I keep seeing the total elimination of the Caucasoid race. That's the only way I see it. Because they have molested the entire country, the world, and all.
Absolutely, the world. And
Mhm.
like I said, their biggest fear is that retaliation, or people are going to do them the way they've done everyone. No, and they're not stopping. They can't stop at this point. How are they going to just stop? They
You know
can't.
that
It wouldn't even make a difference anyway, because their judgment is already written.
You know, that goes back to how to me, I think of Pharaoh, where it's like they don't even know how to they can't even shut it off. Even if they realize it, they just gonna do it anyway. It's like they'll see the destruction around them and they still just gonna keep messing with us, and it's like, wow, they didn't really painted themselves in a corner real deep. They really have. It's a really messed up situation, but which I could care less about the situation and all. But the part that just blows my mind with all of this is I don't see how, but they think they smarter than everybody, how they think that they're gonna get over like a fat rat in this country. And it's like they doing each other in. We used to being done in and all. And I'm like,
but see, that's why the South African is going to be at a major disadvantage. Number one, you done pissed off the white population, and many of them are butt sore about losing their land, and he's bringing in all these foreigners. And number two, they know it's going to be hell trying to deal with us, because we're not like those South Africans, and we're not going to bow down. We're not going to come and work for you for $3 a day. We're not going to come work your farm for $1 an hour and all that crazy mess they pay them over there. See, they pay those kind of salaries to the black population over there. That's why the gap is even worse than it is here in America.
True.
They're going to be for a rude awakening even from us, and the white population. They're really going to be at a major disadvantage over here.
Yeah, because they're going to be sticker shocked, seeing what everything cost over here and everything like that. They're gonna be like, what in the hell? That's why I'm saying, I really would like to know what did they sign, because you didn't paint it yourself up in a corner, because you're gonna still have to pay whatever we paying for food. They're gonna have to pay the same thing. And like I said, I like to see what's gonna happen if any of them can even make it through the whole damn year on this situation.
Yeah. I mean, it's not cheap to run a farm.
Because that's a sorry that
pour all that money on them. It is not cheap to run a farm.
No, it's not.
A lot of effort. That's hard work.
And I hope some is listening, because I want to put a dig in. They men got to be some sorry ass men to come to this country with their whole ass family, with their whole hand stuck out, literally the drawers you got on, the socks that you got on, that everything been handed to you. Your man can't get you a bra, some pantyhose, or anything. Y'all men are sorry. Real sorry.
Yeah, they're all going to be on. I read that too. They're all going to be on SNAP. Yeah, so they're all literally getting food stamps. Coming off the plane, they're getting food stamps.
But that's just for a year, right?
They're literally going to be living a free life for a year. That's how much this government has given them.
Do you know how quick a year go by?
That's why I'm saying these white folks, that's why they're not going to warm up to these people. They're not going to warm up to them at all.
They're going to be all comfy and cozy, and that year going to show up on their ass so quick. Wow.
See, they're giving them a year to get, make their money and try to get ahead of things, but that is not going to be the case for all of them. You can best believe it. Like I said, I'm dying to see who's going to go work for these folks. Who is going to go over there and literally work for them? As nasty as they are, who's going to work for them? Because they already know they ain't getting us out on them farms. Those times are over. They're not going to get us out there at all.
We said one Afrikaner said he left his 5-bedroom house, car, dog.
I saw that video over on TikTok. I saw that.
Did he show his house and his car and his dog and all of that?
No, he was just being interviewed. He didn't show anything.
I don't believe that shit.
He was just being interviewed.
Well, if you got you a house and all that, why would you even leave that?
I don't know.
I don't be believing everything
Donald Trump offered them. You know, we don't really technically know what was offered to them. We don't really have those details. You know, Donald Trump and them, from what I gathered, been talking to them for several months about helping them out. So we don't know what kind of deal was on the table for them to even get on that plane and come here.
Yeah.
But man, when I looked at them video, even today, there are even more of them white folks. Ooh, they're
they sound hot. They sound with those few videos you put out, especially that Snaggletooth woman. She was very clear. Them folks is hot. I wouldn't be surprised if they them people start fighting them.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if the Latinos are going to work for them. You know, they are hurt. They are hurt that they are being discarded for these white folks from South Africa. They are really hurt over that mess.
Do you see what Brother Sly just put in? A 5-bedroom house is 300 square feet. Damn, 5 bedrooms, huh? Oh Lord, that is funny.
Oh, they don't care about them Ukrainians either. You know, they're getting kicked out too. You know, it's just not making the big news, but you can see the stories online. Why do you think them Ukrainian women were talking about they'll give black men $15,000 if they'll marry them? And I was like, y'all better not marry them women. Let them go home.
What tickled me is Trump this country offering these white women $5,000 to give birth.
Yeah, and that ain't no money.
That ain't no money.
That ain't no damn money for a baby. No.
Yeah, I mean, how much you gonna spend that first year of that baby's life? You know, with
way
diapers,
$5,000.
Yeah, that's shit. Right now, they offering a $5,000 reward for those escaped prisoners. You know, that ain't even. I said, boy, I said to my husband, I said, ain't nobody gonna be out there overall. That's this cheap. They didn't escape. They said they murderers at all, and we gonna put out $5,000. Nah, y'all gonna have to up the ante better than that. Y'all need to put out 50 or something.
Yeah, well, you know, that's on them. Yeah, I mean, I saw somebody put the Asians are being deported. So are these East Indians. They're throwing them out too. I mean, the biggest group is the Latinos. That's why you keep hearing about them more than anybody else. But they're throwing out even these Haitians, these Jamaicans. They're all getting thrown out. The Cubans, all of them.
Oh, you, Christopher Clipper, you know, my stepson works for the Port of Oakland right now. Everything is at a freeze. He was doing a lot of overtime, and they just off and on strike. Not the port workers, but the truck drivers are going on strike. It's just like a back and forth deal. 1 minute they on, 1 minute they off. That's all I can say to you at this point.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, everything. Donald Trump done got everything so unstable out here. It's not even funny. He has turned so many people's lives.
Ain't been in office. I never seen so much destruction. What with his first 100 days, and he ain't even 6 months into the office at all.
Did you hear him talking? He swear up and down he's done a great job in the 100 days. I said, Donald Trump, you are so delusional.
Lisa, did you hear, this is slightly off subject, did you hear the other day over I heard it over on Instagram, and I know it's on TikTok too. Trump was talking about transgenders, and I ain't heard this word in years. Trump said, well, the person that cut they dangaling off. I just dropped my head. I said, Trump didn't say dingaling. No, he did not use that word. I said, this man's vocabulary is gone. Lord.
Good one.
And he said it makes them a eunuch. It's just certain words we don't use anymore, and that's one of them. Dingaling. Trump will say retarded. Oh, he'll say things that it's like, really, Trump? You don't even try. Ooh, you talking about some pissed off white folks, Lisa? Damn.
They are, like I said, these Afrikaners, they just don't know what they're in for. And you can best believe, how these folks are when they get angry. They ain't gonna hold back on them either.
No.
Back on them. And like I said, they better pray nothing happens to Donald Trump, because if something does, they could be the next group getting ran out of here.
Yes, I spoke to Big Mike 2 weeks ago, and I did mention it on Lisa's channel. I think it's been 3 weeks now, and he was saying that these truck drivers, because he drives them big, long tractor trailer trucks, they are the foreigners are not getting their license the right way. They are having major accidents out there on the interstate. He also said there's been a number of them coming to construction sites with supplies, killing construction workers, running into equipment. And I told people, if you're out there on that interstate, be careful, because they're not doing it the right way. And then he said another thing is that they wanted him to drive 3 states over, and only gonna pay him $2,000. See, this is how they then really screwed up when people are not getting their license the right way and all, and it's really pissing off the legitimate truck drivers that got the right type of licensing and all of that. When you cutting corners on that, it's just certain things you can't cut corners on. And you got these people out here driving out here with these big loads, and you got to be careful in front of those trucks. Those trucks don't stop on a dime. Y'all, spread that word around. Be careful around that and all. So yeah, Big Mike said there's been some major issues out there on the interstate.
Okay, Monica Gregory, thank you for the super sticker. One of many ancestral reflections. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see. The so-called patriots give that smoke. Oh, they will. I think as time move on, you're going to see them going at these white South Afrikaners, and see in their minds, I think the way they will look at it, well, we're all white. No. When these folks lose something, you're going to know about it. They don't care about that, especially if they're the ones that lost their farmland. They're not going to care about those Afrikaners at all.
No, he really didn't, Lisa. He didn't really set the stage for seeing Esau versus Esau. And the thing is, they can't hide who they are because of their dialect.
Yeah. Real Look, thank you for the super sticker. Chocolate Night 2, Mayo on Mayo betrayals. Yeah. Let's see. One of many ancestral reflections. Thank you for the super chat. Where the Patriots at? Pull up. This is your time. Chocolate Night 2. This is karma for how the white farmers treated black farmers. Yes, I believe that too. Only 60 games played. Thank you for the super sticker. All right, hold on. I got a few more. Angela Patterson, thank you for the super sticker. Monica Gregory, again, thank you for the super sticker. Baron E, thank you for the super sticker. Ocean Soul, thank you for the super chat. U.S. Navy, get food and water overseas tested. Let's see. Curly Locks. Let's see here. Get that. Let me go back. Curly Locks, thank you for the super chat. Miss Lisa, True Royal, give them that work. Ocean Soul, thank you for the super chat. They know we barbecue and they ain't invited. Can you imagine how out of place they would look if they came talking with that weird Dutch accent? One of many ancestral reflections where the Gadsden flag bearers at. Jamaica XD, thank you for the super chat. I had 3 shows up to job 3 with nasty energy, LOL. You get what you give. I'm the queen of ID gaff, kick rocks, open toed, all praises to the Most High. And Mr. Soulful, thank you for the super sticker. Thank you, everybody, for your contribution and your donations to my channel. I deeply appreciate it. Let me see. Is this another one? No, it's not. It's the same one. I just don't want to miss anybody. So, thank you again, Mr. Soulful, for your super sticker. So, True Royal.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is going to be like this summer with these Afrikaners around? See, I think they came at a lousy time.
Mm-hmm.
What are they going to do when the shelves are empty? Because at that point, it ain't going to matter if Donald Trump give them money.
Well, you know what I think about how Trump get down, Lisa? It goes back to like when he's, putting his John Hancock on something and signing it and showing it, and the way Trump minds work, once he sign it, everything is in action, and it's not even well thought out. It's done hastily, and him and his little cronies so want to stick it to people or stick it to us or whoever they focusing on at that time. They want things done instantly, and to hell with how the chips may fall. Because when people get relocated on that level, there's an adjustment phase, and it don't even sound like they're going to even allow them to make the adjustments. They expecting something from them. I'm going to watch this real close, real close. And I agree with you. You just haphazardly bring them over here, and they didn't step knee deep in some shit. You do not. This happened to me one time. Let me say this real quick. When I first got my my welding certificates and all, and I was 19 years old. I was so green and young. I didn't know no better. And I, even though I got my certificates, I was still in school. I was hired. A bunch of us was hired on a job where at the shipyards where they were striking. And it took me a day or so to realize this ain't a good situation to be working in. These people were angry. So it's like being thrown in the trenches in a war, and somebody just handing you a gun that you ain't never used, and bullets is flying back and forth, and you got to figure out how to survive that. I hurried up and got my ass off of that job, and I made a point after that not to just. It's more than a notion just jump up and get a job. You need to see what you're getting yourself into. You could be stepping into some shit. And this is what Trump and them have done. Show you how wrong he is on so many levels, that he don't give a damn about his own. They just looking at the investment. They done threw them into some shit. But I could care less at the end of the day. I'm taking joy in watching Esau versus Esau. Get your popcorn, folks. That's all I can say. Yeah, scab work. There you go, Tony. Scab workers. That's the worst. And coming into this situation where the farmers are, I mean, like, well, you use the word they don't care. The white South Africans, they would have to know to some extent what they stepping into. Are they selling them such crap that they guess they just gonna think the welcome committee gonna be out, but they can't hold their hand the entire time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Mm-hmm.
no, they can't. And see, that's going to be the key, because these folks are going to need help. They're in a strange land that they don't know. And I think they're going to get the cold shoulder from so many people up in here. And again, that's going to probably play a factor in them leaving too.
And
See,
you're right.
Trump, one thing Donald Trump can't do, he can't make the public cooperate. Look at how it's been with Elon. Donald Trump then came before the camera several times. Elon's a great guy. Oh, buy Teslas, do this, did the public listen? No, everybody is still like F Elon. F Elon. Donald Trump's word ain't pulling no weight like that.
Yeah, remember I was saying they was trying to make Elon look like a humanitarian, talking about all the great stuff when who was he interviewed by? That dude on Fox. And they was trying to make him look like a humanitarian. And I'm like, none of that shit gonna work. And even though they think they slick and we don't hear Elon's name as much, he is still out there doing dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day. So these folks done stepped in a war zone. And like I said, the only example I can use, and I've only happened once in my life, I'm stepping onto a job being a scab, and it was a very uncomfortable situation. And I think I didn't even stay out there 2 weeks on that job. I said, let me get up out of here. You thinking you doing something great, and that just show you how dirty white folks can be, because they come to the school talking about, oh, we got a job opportunity for you. You can get benefits and blah, blah, blah. And you getting thrown into a situation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. They going to be in for a rude awakening. Just the fact that they're going to be looking at people that look just like them that's not going to care. And they going to feel that. Trust me, they going to feel that, because they're not used to it. I don't think they got that kind of cold shoulder ever in South Africa, but they will get it here.
Yeah. Yep. And we got to keep doing like what Lisa said a long time ago. Mind our own damn business. Even if they ask you for some directions, that ain't none of our business. She said, if you see their kids running around out here lost, that ain't none of our damn business. That could be a straight setup. I picked up on that real quick.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because we get thrown into some jacked up situations trying to be helpful.
Yeah. And being that they'll be out on farmland, hopefully we won't really see them like that. Because some of those farmlands are pretty isolated, especially if you know where some of them are. Some of them are pretty isolated. And I think, as far as I know, the only place they're going to be on the East Coast is North Carolina, Ohio, and where's the other one?
Texas don't want them, Lisa.
I know they don't.
Some of them states don't want them, because I didn't already talk to relatives that said they don't want. They've been even talking about it amongst themselves and the white folks too. Yeah. They don't want them.
Yeah, that's right, Christopher Clipper, Iowa. And as white as Iowa is, even they don't want them.
I wonder what's going on in Nebraska.
Either.
Have you heard anything about Nebraska, Lisa?
Yeah, they're even more in debt.
Ooh,
yeah, they can go bankrupt. What other choice do they have at this point? They're not getting any help. I haven't heard about anybody really going in there in a big way helping them, but this is all their fault. They voted against their own best interests. They lost their farm workers. And, they're on their own. Like I said, if you want to save your farm, get out there and do the work yourself. But this is proof that They didn't do their own work back during chattel slavery. And you see right now in modern times, you don't see them running out there doing their own work even to this very day. When it
Mhm.
comes down to those farms, nothing has changed.
Mhm.
Nothing has changed. That's why when they sit in your face talking about they've done it all and the white man built all of this, it's a damn lie. Because if you were really doing it all, you would be saving Nebraska right now. How come
So
you're not saving it?
so Trump and them purposely allowing these farming states to collapse so they can bring in these white South Africans. Because this is going to be corporate run farms.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and they're going to have a lot of government help. We already know that because the government's helping them now. They're going to have a lot of government help, but who's going to, like I said, who's going to work for them? Right now, the Latinos are so mad that they're being replaced by these folks. They're outraged, you know, that they're being discarded. And boy, they are divided. Woo, them Latinos are divided. The ones that didn't vote for Donald Trump, they are fuming mad at the ones that did. They are deeply divided.
You know, they're going through a grieving process, Lisa. Like I said, we've been telling them for the longest. They don't like y'all. And they thinking because they washing their kids' ass and they up in their houses and stuff. Because I see it all the time up here where I live at. You'll see a Mexican woman taking about 3 or 4 of them to the park, and she working under the table, thinking because she up in this white woman house, she doing the most wonderful thing. You're still a bunch of them working under the table. You ain't getting no benefits or nothing. You're getting used.
And for the longest, they were up in here because I even heard them saying black people fight with white people too much. Oh, do you feel that way now?
You know what?
Now, see, we were the only ones willing to stand up. Y'all a bunch of cowards. You know what y'all do? You're mad about everything, but y'all come to black people to fight. You won't fight that white man that's throwing your ass out of here head first. You
I had
won't
a Mexican foreman tell me, black people, all we do is bitch and complain. And he said, all we do is always trying to work the system and run a scam.
We don't do that. Trust me, Latinos are more likely to run a scam than we are. Okay, they're more likely to run them scams than we are.
Remember, Lisa, what I was telling you? Let's see. Jet Black would agree with me because she's from the Bay Area. Remember I was telling you the last time we talked, we got a mission district in San Francisco, and then we have Fruitvale. Those districts are mainly Mexicans. In those districts, you can get fake passports, fake ID, fake birth certificates, and all of that. I've been knowing that since I've been a child. Those are the areas where if you want to get something fake, they'll doctor that stuff up and you can get that. And then another thing that they do in those districts, it be so many of them that snuck over here, they will only shop and operate within those districts, and they even overcharge they own. They got pharmacies. Let me tell you how it works, Lisa. They'll have a pharmacy in their district, and the pharmacy will have a doctor right there where you can get examined right there at the pharmacy, and then you can get your prescription right there. And it ain't nothing but a little quack doctor and all. Some of them are so afraid to go outside of those communities and all. I mean, literally, they'll get their food, get their clothes, get their everything. And they charging them up the yin yang. That's how they get down.
Yeah. But yeah, I think they're also a little embarrassed about how many other people ran out there and voted for Donald Trump. Now they literally being kidnapped off the street. Like I said, ICE will spot them. If they hear even a hint of an accent, they getting snatched out of here.
You know, the other day, I didn't get to see it, but my husband seen it. He told me 2 days ago he was watching the news. ICE snatched this husband and wife up and left a child on the street.
Mm-hmm.
And the child was just, he said he seen it with his own eyes. The child was just standing there screaming and hollering.
Mm-hmm. Well, I saw one story last week where they snatched up a couple and they had an infant. The wife was sent to Venezuela because I think that's where she was originally from. And they sent the father to El Salvador to the prison over there. And the infant baby is now in the foster care system.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And I was reading that story last week. Like I said, they don't care what they do to them. They're not getting snatched up out of here as a family.
Why is he putting all them people and them men in them jails like that? Not all them men are
free labor. Free labor. It's the same thing they did to our people. They said in that prison, what they do is hard manual labor. I guess for anybody that needs that done, that's what they do. They do hard manual labor. They don't care whether those folks are criminals or not. It's all about the money they can make having those extra bodies up in there.
They're going back to the day where you would beat on a rock all day. You know, they would have prisons like that.
Yeah.
I think some of them. Wow.
Yeah. They said that's all they do. They put those prisoners out there to do hard manual labor. Whatever manual labor needs to be done, they do it. And they do that until the day they drop dead up in there because they're not coming out upright. They coming out in a body bag. Once you get put in there, you're in there for the rest of your life.
Wow.
There is no getting out. Why do you think Donald Trump is not giving them due process? He's not giving them due process because he already promised these people to the president of El Salvador. He's not going to get them back. Even Kilmar, who's been all in the news, he ain't getting Kilmar back. They know they made a mistake and they don't care. He's going to stay right in that prison. They are not bringing that man back here.
Let's see. Where does Gates farmland fit in this scheme? I would have to research that.
I think his organization is something totally different. I know what you mean. It's not AcreTrader. It's not. It's something else.
Damn, just the name alone, AcreTrader.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lord.
JD Vance has been invested in that for years. It's not,
I was wondering why, because you know, JD Vance, he's been so nasty the way he speak to people, and
he's always been that way. But you know what? Those foreign countries, those leaders over there, they don't like it. They don't like how JD Vance talked to them.
They don't even like the way he moved, Lisa. How he been getting down in them countries. You're right. Yeah, because he not paying attention to protocol and how things work when you go to other countries. He'll just walk off and go talk to somebody else and all like that. He gonna get his ass caught up. Being the way he is, and all, and and the way he speak, because I kept saying, damn, it sounds like JD Vance don't like Europeans, you know, them Europeans, and I'm okay. I'm putting two and two together. I learned something tonight. I really did. I know y'all said I opened y'all up to something. No, I've been enlightened too. That's the beautiful thing about when we come together, we enlighten each other. You know, it's like putting a puzzle together. We really do. I like that about us. You say he a tear Billy, huh? You right about that.
Yeah, he don't know how to talk. Remember when he was talking about the Chinese and called them pheasants? I said those folks are paying your debt and you're sitting there calling them pheasants. No, he don't know how to talk to people. He absolutely don't know how to do that. All right, I got a few more in here and we're going to conclude soon.
Okay.
Because I got to work on y'all orders for tomorrow. Lonzo Thompson, thank you so much for the super sticker. Ocean Soul, Mercury going back, retrograde in summer at True Royal. Prayers for the fall of Babylon, Chocolate Night 2. Thank you for the super chat. Mr. Soulful, they may try to use slave labor too. You know what they will, what I think they're going to do? Because I really don't think the South Africans are going to draw a lot of people to those farmlands. The prison, I think that's what they're going to turn to, get the prisoners out there to work those farms. Because what other alternative will they have? We're definitely not going out there. And I think the Latinos are so fired up mad over them getting discarded for these white South Africans. I don't think they're going to go out there like they used to. They done pissed too many people off. So, but yeah, prison labor. Mr. Soulful, they will try to use because the prisoners they're going to have a hard time refusing. You know what I mean? Ocean Soul, I'll be wearing products here in Ohio from Lisa. Okay, well, thank you. All right, y'all. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I deeply appreciate it. Thank you, True Royal, for being on the panel and making it even more interesting. And, we'll definitely come back together because I know it's going to be a lot more coming out about this, y'all.
Lisa,
we're just getting it in bits and pieces.
Lisa, your channel been on fire. We got to come up with, you got to come up with some kind of name. I keep thinking of something. We got to all think of something for Lisa because her lives really been on fire because of the stuff that's just been going on in America and all. We'll come up with something.
I know what I was going to ask you. What do you think about Donald Trump making a deal and bringing El Chapo's family over here to live?
Well, I'm going to go back to what you say, Lisa. They had to give him something in order to do it. That's how I look at it.
And trust me, they got the money. They got a lot of money.
That would be the only way he would move.
Yeah, don't think for one moment that family, that crime family, don't have nothing. They got a lot.
Yeah. And for that deal to go down, like you said, you got to put something in Trump's hand for anything to go down. And they did elect the criminal, so criminals understand criminals and they do what they do.
Yes. Yes, they most certainly do.
Yeah.
So y'all, we are opening Alcatraz. I don't know if that's going to go anywhere. I think once they realize how much it's going to cost to operate that place and keep it up, they may back off of that. That's just my prediction.
It's in a marine environment, and I've worked out in the middle of that ocean. I worked out in that ocean for 4 years straight, and things corrode fastly.
That's the big reason why they closed it in the first place, because they were getting a lot of corrosion.
Yes.
And on top of that, y'all, that thing has not really been fully functional since 1963. Do you know you have to modernize that prison? You would have to do a lot of work to get it up to standards for today. I think after it's said and done, it's going to just cost a lot of money on the taxpayers.
See, it's like, think of the Golden Gate Bridge, which is not golden, it's actually a rusty red. People have spent their whole career painting one end of the bridge to the other end of the bridge so it won't corrode because of that marine environment. And all. And like I said, it will even attack you. You have to constantly put on lip balm when you're working out there. And like I said, you can take a nail and lay it down and come back a week later and you can look at it close and see the rust start forming on it. A marine environment ain't no joke.
Yeah.
It's not no joke. I'm telling y'all something I know.
They're very easy. And, and that place is just literally sitting out there surrounded by water. I bet you the corrosion is probably accelerated because of that.
Yeah, and then everything you have to, it's not big enough to grow stuff out there. So you gotta always constantly have boats coming out there to bring the food, to bring the water. Everything is just being brought out there to them.
Yeah.
It's very costly.
Right, it is. And then if inmates need a certain kind of medical care, you got to board them on a boat and bring them.
That's true, Lisa. Yeah, I
know,
forgot about that.
It might not be worth it. That's all I'm saying. Right now they're still trying to come up with the figures, and I think at the end of the day, it ain't gonna be worth it.
Yeah, they gotta, and then the guards would have to be shipped back and forth. See, like I was telling Lisa, my grandfather was a guard on Alcatraz in the 70s. See, a lot of people didn't even know, even in the early 70s, it was still prisoners out there, because they were still, even though it was shut down, they were still trying to find places throughout the United States to put those prisoners and all. They have built some new buildings on there. They have considered putting a casino out there. One time they even considered giving it back to the Indians that they had taken the land from and all. But for the most part, it's just a tourist attraction. People go out there to visit it. As long as I've been in California, I have never ever stepped on that island. Who wants to visit a prison? That's just demonic to me.
Yeah, and I mean that's all they do now anyway, is tours through it. But I mean, it has not really been that active for a long time, and no, prisoners, plantations, there's certain things I will not go and visit. I have no desire to go and visit at all. I wouldn't even go to a plantation.
Yeah, remember I said that about them plantations. You know what, Lisa? I was surprised how many people, and I was impressed and happy about it, that put up videos about that plantation burning down.
Yeah.
A lot of folks put up videos. Our folks put up videos on that. I took joy in that.
Think about the timing of that, True Royal. That happened just before we officially started our Sabbath day.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I said, boy, look at the timing of the Most High. He took that place down just before our Sabbath day.
Yeah, and they can't restore it.
Burn the shit down to the ground.
Yeah, and what I like is the core of that house, which was the center of it, was burnt. It wasn't, on the ends or just the porch or something like that. The core of it. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, look, it is one of those things, and you can tell, like when certain things come up for us as Hebrews, it's not unusual for something major to happen.
Well, I keep telling you,
it was very significant.
I gotta look this up. Said a Mexican Navy ship crashed into the Brooklyn Bridge.
Brooklyn Bridge, really?
What? I have to look that up.
But that's not going to go. That bridge is a lot sturdier than that Francis Scott Key one that went down. That one looked a lot flimsy. When I saw that bridge, even when it was still up, that bridge looked kind of flimsy to me. I don't know who built that bridge.
Oh, Lord. Oh, I see it. Yeah, I see it. Well, a bridge has to be built flexible. It can't be built rigid.
Because if you remember the Francis Scott Key, it's almost like when that ship hit it on impact, it just immediately folded.
Yeah, it sure did, didn't it? Yeah, it's a mixed bag. They never perfected building bridges, but they wouldn't tell you that. So I'm gonna let y'all know it. So 23 were injured on that bridge. That's what they're saying so far. So a massive Navy ship, tall ship, making a festival visit to New York, slammed into the Brooklyn Bridge late Saturday. Wow.
Yeah, I'll check that out. If it's worth it, I'll do something on that tomorrow. If I don't go live on it, perhaps I'll do like a premiere on it.
Ooh, them people are running. Oh my Lord.
And the thing is, how far off are we from retrograde?
We got till I think it's around June, Lisa.
Oh, well,
But
we're not that far away.
Yeah, but if y'all want me to look it up real, I can
hell. Donald Trump called hell the last one.
Oh, I love that retrograde. That was the best retrograde ever. I'm looking it up real quick so I can let y'all know when it's going to start. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. It's going to start staging the end of June, and it's going to be all in July, all of July, and damn near all of August.
So it's going to be at a time when a lot of places are going to have empty shelves by then.
Yeah. And then after that, the next one is going to hit latter October, all of November, and damn near half of December. But yeah, that retrograde was fun, wasn't it, Lisa? Oh yeah, I loved every bit of it. I mean, they was getting it.
Yeah, and Elon was catching hell. He was crying. He was crying because Tesla wasn't making no money. Elon collapsed and started crying.
Remember the signal gate with the Pete headset and all of that stuff came out. And see, there's always issues with cell phones, computers, and all of that. All those things I've been talking about for years. It was like, wow, look at it. It's just all coming true. And they don't know how that's affecting them. I keep saying that's the magnetic forces from that planet. That stuff is real. Your phones will mess up your computers. Shoot, what happened to you a few years ago? Your furnace went out. I didn't have microwaves blow up in my house. All kind of stuff be going down. Freak accidents. It ain't no joke.
No, it isn't. But it's going to be funny to see what happens to America during that time frame. It's going to be priceless, y'all. It's going to be priceless.
Y'all don't ever have to worry. I keep an eye on retrograde. I always let y'all know ahead of time. Don't even worry about it. That's my job.
You know, my phone was actually fine, but my son, a couple of times when he tried to make calls during the last retrograde, his calls dropped. And he came and told me, he was like, I don't know what's going on. And I said, yeah, it's weird. It didn't happen to me, but it was happening to him.
Some people it don't affect at all. And some people it affects greatly. Sometimes retrograde, I can feel retrograde. This last one, I didn't feel it. I didn't feel anything, you know? But I knew what was going on. Damn, my last car caught on fire.
Wow.
Yeah, that kind of stuff happened. I didn't have people tell me they didn't have problems with their cars, then broke completely.
In fact, I saw in the news about 2 weeks ago, somebody had a Tesla and it just sat and blew up and caught on fire. About 2 weeks ago, I saw that story out there.
See, that's all. You know what? Before I even was paying attention to Teslas, that's all I kept hearing up here in the Bay Area. Another Tesla then caught on fire. Another Tesla then caught on fire. And I'm like, what is wrong with that car?
It has no business being on the road. That's what's wrong with it. But because Elon is a wealthy man, they'll overlook a lot of things and just put it out there. And I think that's really a hazard to everybody on the road.
It really is.
Yeah. It's not right.
But see, he wants to do things fast and efficient, and he wants to cut corners, and he don't want nobody to, you don't want the government to do no inspections or anything like that, you know. And that's the line that he's been sold this country to get these grants and all by talking about how he can do things fast and efficient. You know, this fool wants to take over NASA. And I said, you can't even get a damn rocket. You can't even get a rocket out of space, and you want to take over NASA? No. You need to go take your high ass someplace and go sit down.
And y'all know why he always have that child up on his shoulders? Elon really is using that child as a human shield. He keeps propping that kid up on his shoulder because he feels that people might not try to assassinate him if a child is on his shoulders.
Well, he
So
don't really love that child then.
shield. And the mother is right. He is. He's using Booger Boy. Yeah, he's using Booger Boy.
I wonder why he picked that child out to use him for that.
I don't know, not unless he is just one of them kids that cling to him a lot. I mean, that could be the case.
Yeah, but Elon is so deranged in his mind. He got a favorite child. I think that's if somebody got a lot of children, I think that's wrong to do that.
Well, he with the number of kids he got, there's no way he can give all them kids attention. But the bottom line is he literally kidnapped that boy and his siblings.
Yeah.
The mother has been asking for those children back for quite some time now. And Elon has pretty much cut her off because they said she used to go on X to try to communicate with him, and he blocked her.
Mm-hmm.
He blocked her. He won't communicate with her, and she says she wants her children back.
Mm-hmm. That is so wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She ain't seen them kids or spoke to them in a while. He won't let her have any contact with those kids.
Yeah, I was reading an article where that little booger boy, he'll take him to cocktail parties and say the boy be so tired, he'll just be passed out on a couch someplace or slumped over in a chair.
Mm-hmm.
You don't take children to places like that.
Mm-mm.
So you're just gonna drag the child around. He's selfish and he petty. That's some petty shit that he
even
doing.
The mother said that child has no business being up at the Oval Office.
He doesn't.
He drags him all up at the White House, she don't like that. She don't feel that he should even be in the Oval Office where Elon will have him.
Mm-hmm.
And she spoke out against that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're right about that.
Elon is rotten to all of them baby mamas he got. He don't treat none of them right.
You're right about that dark-skinned brother. Yeah, I seen that transgender child he got. He can't stand Elon.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's using that port I don't know, he's a little booger boy, but yeah, he's using him as a human shield.
But that was classic. That little boy, the way he was talking to Trump, I could not believe what was coming out that baby's mouth.
You know what? Trump couldn't either. If you look at the expression on Trump's face, he couldn't believe that shit either.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
couldn't believe it either.
I know how I am. I would have pulled Trump to the side and said, "Now you thinking this is your friend here, and he got this little child in here, talking like this to you? Okay, Ocean Souls. My husband bought me 2 big, huge bags of cherries.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So don't start no mess. I know Lisa got her cherries, but I ran through 1 bag already last night, and I ate some real quietly while I was sitting here, watching them videos. So yeah, I'm on. I will be eating cherries until cherry season is over.
Amen.
I know I'm gonna be getting a picture soon, but she probably do that once my season wears out and I can't get any up here.
Which makes no sense. I mean, like I said, you should be able to get it more so than me.
I agree with you.
To South America.
I agree with you, Lisa. Here. I'm telling you, less than an hour from me, there are cherry farms. Less than an hour from me, and I get the listing. We're gonna go in about 2 more weeks. You can get cherries and nectarines at this one farm, and they're only $2 a pound. You just pick them yourself. And my husband asked me, "Well, how many pounds of cherry should we get?" I said, "I'm gonna pick 10 pounds."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "We might not be able to eat them all." I said, "Oh no, they're gonna get ate up. Trust and believe, they will get ate up."
I think the biggest I ever had, y'all, was about 15 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I had that bought from me. And man, trust me, we went through them cherries. And nothing went bad up in here. We went through them cherries.
I know some stuff. I really know some stuff, folks. I know some of Lisa's secrets when it comes to them cherries. She didn't taught me how to hide cherries. I ain't gonna say too much. You know. She schooled me real good.
Oh yeah. So y'all, listen, thank you so much for being here, because I know some of y'all got to get up and go to work, so I'm going to let you go. Thank you for being here. Thank you, True Royal. And trust me, I got some more topics that I know you're going to like. Then we'll be coming back to do it again.
They wanted to know, how is your son real quick, Lisa?
Oh, he's doing a lot better. Feeling less pain, and he's doing great. And True Royal sent him a sword, so he loves that sword.
That's good. I'm happy for him.
Yeah. So y'all take care, and I'll see you again.
All right. Ashe to the royal family.
Shalom.